Well, hello there. It's Amanda Creative Gardener, and I came to show you the Soursop tree. I did a little short a couple of days ago, but I wanted to show you a bit longer video to see just how tall it's grown. So this tree was grown from seed. I had initially thought I was growing the sweet sop, and some of the seeds must have got mixed up. So it turned out that there was both sweet sop and soursop. So I've got one sweet sop tree growing as well, and it produced fruit last year. It produced two fruit last year. The rest were eaten by the monkeys. So we have quite a number of fruit on this year. It's probably the biggest amount that I've had so far, but as I say, I don't always get to sample because the monkeys seem to get there first. There was one I was waiting, it just needed maybe another day or two, and then when I came back a big hole was taken out of it. So as I say, it was grown from seed, and it takes about 3-4 years before you're going to get your first fruit. And they developed this kind of pest on it. So all I do is spray them with some either neem oil with some soapy water solution, or any other like garlic in a little bit of water. But I find the neem oil works best, and if you get them and spray them, they come off, and then the fruit starts to grow as normal. There's a couple of young ones up there that have got the same thing on them. I've not yet managed to get to them yet. And the other thing that I've been trying to do is just keep the trees at a particular height so it's manageable and I'm able to get the fruit. These have the capability of growing 20, 30 feet, but obviously I wouldn't be able to get the top ones, so this is about as high as I want it to grow. And what I might do is just lob off where those just about there to make it spread rather than grow tall, and it would produce fruit as normal. The leaves are also, you're able to, I use those in tea, and I just take, say, a couple of leaves and put it in my glass teapot. And I also use it with the noni leaf, and it makes a lovely green tea. If you've never had a soursop before, it's got a kind of a milky white flesh. It's fairly sweet. I don't find it as sweet as the sweet sop, but it's fairly sweet, and it's used a lot in smoothies and things like that. But I like to eat the fruit as is. And even if I was to pluck these ones, I could leave them for a little bit and they would ripen up. Obviously we want them to get bigger. And let me show you how they first start out. So that's how they first start out. When I first saw them, I was just like, where's the fruit that I thought that was growing? And that's how it starts out, and then it develops like that. But every now and again she loses her leaves and she gets quite sparse, and I don't water this. I normally just make sure I've mulched around the base so that any water it does get, we're in the rainy season now, so I'll be getting lots of water, and it's pushing out all these fruit. But I make sure that it's well mulched. I need to add some more. I usually add the Mexican sunflower around the base, and behind it is my deadwood hedge. It's very deadwood hedge, and it's just really kind of like a makeshift one. I piled along the perimeter all of the branches and things that I had cut from around the garden, and just built it up. And what this is doing, over the years it breaks down, so it's providing it with a lot of nutrients, and it's habitat for insects, and there's also a mongoose family living in here. On the odd occasion I found 2 termite mounds I had to remove, but you're not going to get rid of them in the garden. And hey, look, there's Cole there. What are you doing? What are you doing? In. And so it's growing quite nicely. So as I say, look, we've got some small buds there. I'm not sure whether they're going to make it. I am going to have to try and spray them, but it happens all the time. But once I've sprayed it, they seem to recover, and it's a tiny little pest that produces, it's like this little white kind of, it's not foamy, but it's like a powdery, but you just have to keep your eye on them. So as I say, you keep your eye on them, you keep them at a reasonable height. The leaves have been shown in studies to prevent the formation of cancer cells and other things, and I also use them in cooking. So I will say put a couple of leaves in if I'm making sort of like a stew or something, and delight in the fruit. So that's what it looks like at the moment. I will give you an update in a few months, maybe to see, or when I pick the first fruit, and you can have a look inside. And then it produces a lot of seeds, and what I do is I always replant the seeds. It's nice to be able to grow as many as you can. The seeds that I've taken from the fruit that I've had before, they haven't come up yet. I scattered them around the garden. I do have another plant growing. Let's go and have a look and see how that's doing. It's this way, it's at the back, because what I did was I had scattered some of the seeds just around the borders to see what would grow, and then one day I came across this. So it's quite spindly. It's been growing its leaves well. It did have a problem with some sort of insect, so I had to cut it back, but it's recovering now. There's something that's eating the leaves, as you can see, but it's growing quite well, again surrounded by lots of dead plant material. The branches are just kind of breaking down around them, so it's got a lot of nutrients. And so this one, the leaves are fairly large, so I use some of these leaves as well. So you only need really one, and just every few days. But it's growing well. It's surrounded by a lot of other trees, so I'm not sure how tall it will grow. I will as well keep this at a decent height so I can reach it, and just keep an eye on how it's growing. But yes, that's the other one. So I hope you decide to grow whatever your space is. I'm not sure how well they do in pots, but you can of course try them in there and, you know, increase the size of the pot and see if you can get yours to fruit. I haven't taken a cut-in, but I would like to see if I could grow them from cut-ins. So there's still a lot of experimenting to do. So I hope that's been useful, and do subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, and I look forward to catching you another time. Take care for now.